Hello friends. These elite characters are so fine and sophisticated, exposing their theories with such beauty that they almost convince me. But I think they are wolves disguised as lambs, because the only purpose behind their nice words is to keep their privileges. They talk about equality, but they place themselves far above all of us, and they don't care about our opinion, not our dreams, not our projects, because the only thing they want to impose on us by force is the nightmares of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Opinion article. The Brave New World of Davos. The world in 2030 according to the Davos Forum. You won't own anything, but you will be happy. A world in which the Davos elite would own everything. They want to impose on us a new economic and social doctrine. These preachers look like demons disguised as angels. They intend to impose a new social contract without a signature. Former democracy, as we know, it could disappear. The economic power elite wants to design another world for 2030. Stock and gold prices fall, and silver soars 7% due to the weak dollar. Bill Gates says he is very surprised by conspiracy theories. Doomsday clock doesn't advance and remains 100 seconds away from apocalypse. Dozens of people lock themselves in Colombia to await the end of the world. Neighbors of a Mexican municipality threaten to hang their mayor, but let him go free. Let's start. You will own nothing, but you will be happy, said Time magazine about the Great Reset of world capitalism, according to the president of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Klaus Schwab, who gave details of how the economic power elites imagine the world in the year 2030. This year, the Davos Forum faces its most special edition with the challenge of being held in the midst of the health crisis. For this reason, the 51st edition of the World Economic Forum is divided into two phases. A virtual one from January 25 to 29, and a face-to-face one in Singapore in May. The summit brings together politicians, business people, and representatives of social and cultural organizations at a crucial time for the world under the motto "The Great Reset." There is also talk of the Great Green Reboot, a nicer sounding name. At first glance, it might seem like just another one of many international events. However, the Davos Forum brings together more high-level attendees and is one of the few that brings together figures from diverse fields such as politics, economics, and science and culture. Thus, during the 4 days of this meeting, more than 211 working sessions and expert commissions, panels, are held to discuss the main topics of global debate. The discussion forums are divided into 7 areas: how to save the planet, healthy futures, better business, technology, and future of work and geopolitics. To lead these discussions, the forum has 740 speakers and will serve to launch a new Davos Forum manifesto focused on sustainability and its implementation by business and governments. This document will take up the baton from the forum's first manifesto, published in 1973, which offered a series of keys and leadership in the business arena. A happy world, or a brave new world, better said. This reminds us of that famous novel by Aldous Huxley entitled Brave New World, a world in which we will own nothing, but in which the Davos elite will own everything. This is a consolation. Good thing we will be happy with one hand behind and one hand in front, like the sadhus of India. To try to take away our hope, Kristalina Georgieva, managing director of the IMF, International Money Fund, stated that there is no turning back. Brave New World is the most famous novel by the British writer Aldous Huxley, first published in 1932. The novel is a dystopia that anticipates developments in reproductive technology, human crops, and hypnopedia, the management of emotion through drugs such as soma that combined radically change society. Hypnopedia would be educational through sleep, as it was described in the novel as the process of learning through sleep that subjects undergo during childhood. The world described here could be a dystopia, albeit an ironic and ambiguous one. Humankind was ordered in castes, where everyone knows and accepts his or her place in the social machinery, supposedly healthy, technologically advanced, and sexually promiscuous. War and poverty had been eradicated, and everyone was supposedly happy but stoned. However, the great dystopian paradox is that all these things had been achieved after eliminating many other valuable things: family, cultural diversity, art, and advancement of science, literature, spirituality, philosophy, and love. The most worrying thing would be the absolute disappearance of spirituality, because it is the basis of life. New reality. In this latest edition of the Davos Forum, the world's economic, political, and financial elites are outlining what the new reality will be after the health crisis, and how countries and international organizations will have to face it. In this sense, the Great Reset would be a kind of new economic and social doctrine that could condition the world by trying to impose a renewed concept of globalism. They want to impose on us how we will organize our cities, where we will obtain our power, and what we will eat, and how we will live. According to the article in Time magazine, all products will have become services. I have nothing, I don't own a car, I don't own a house, I don't have appliances or clothes. The human being will cease to be an owner and will become a mere user of elements provided by the system. But in exchange for what? In exchange for our freedom from our liberty. He adds, shopping will be a distant memory in the city of 2030, whose inhabitants have opened up to clean energy and borrow what they need. Sounds utopian until it is mentioned that every single movement is tracked, and outside the city live swathes of malcontents, renegades, the ultimate depiction of a society split in two, like the dystopian science fiction movies. Basic rent. The idea promoted by Davos is that we all depend on access to a universal basic income. But it doesn't say in exchange for what. One might ask, what would happen if we combine this with the social credit system that China applies with scores on the behavior of each citizen? A totalitarian system. In this dystopia, formal democracies as we know them would also become obsolete. The values that build the West will have been tested to the limit. We will forget the checks and balances that strengthen our democracies at our peril. Writes Kenneth Roth, Executive Director of Human Rights Watch. This would mean the division of executive, legislative and judicial powers that is already occurring. The non-division. He concludes the report with the colonization of Mars. In quotes, by the 2030s, we will be ready to take humans to the red planet. What's more, once we get there, we will probably discover evidence of extraterrestrial life, writes Ellen Stofan, NASA's chief scientist. Great science would help us answer big questions about life on Earth, as well as open up practical application for space technology. But there is no talk of human and citizen rights. Short news. Bill Gates says he's very surprised by conspiracy theories. The Microsoft co-founder says he is surprised at the high number of crazy, evil conspiracy theories about him and epidemiologist Anthony Fauci that were spread on social media during the health crisis, and confessed that he would like to find out what is behind them. In quotes, no one would have predicted that me and the doctor would be so prominent in these really malignant theories, he declared Wednesday in an interview. I am very surprised by it. I hope they go away, he added. Excuse me. No flu in Spain. Flu remains at bay in Spain, where no influenza has been reported in the week of January 18 to 24, according to the weekly surveillance report on influenza and other respiratory diseases. This is very strange, bizarre. Draw your own conclusions. AstraZeneca suspends manufacture of injectables. British pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca on Wednesday suspended the manufacture of inoculation at his Wockhardt plant in Wexham, Wales, after receiving a suspicious package. Germany advises against the vaccine in people over 65 years of age, after considering that there is insufficient data to support its administration to his group. The decision is a blow of the company, which is at loggerheads with European Union for reducing by 60% the doses, and it had committed to deliver during the first quarter of 2021. Spanish scientists develop a drug that reduces viral load in laboratory animals. The chemical compound called plitidepsin blocks a protein needed by the bug to replicate in the body, according to a study published in the journal Science. An international team of PharmaMar researchers, led by Spanish virologist Adolfo García Sastre, has published in the journal Science the first data of the potent preclinical efficacy. of plitidepsin, a chemical compound that could become the most successful treatment against the bug. Scientists find solution to baldness problem in a tree. A team of Thai scientists has found a solution to combat baldness in the extract of the Avicennia marina, a tree that it is generally small to medium-sized and is able to slow down hair loss thanks to a chemical it possesses. Anal hyssop. China passes anal testing, declares the National Pulse. Some Chinese doctors say the science is there. Recovering patients, they say, have continued to test positive through lower digestive tract swabs, days after they tested negative for nasal and throat swabs. Scientists and the media claim that if they put a swab in a buttocks, false positives are reduced. In other words, it's not enough for them to just cover our mouths. Now they want to hit us from behind. British public could rise up if no exit plan from the blockade is detailed. A senior member of Parliament warned that the British public could rise up if Prime Minister Boris Johnson's government doesn't outline an exit strategy for the ongoing national blockade on the UK. Wall Street closed in red. Wall Street closed Tuesday in the red, and the Dow Jones Industrials, its main indicator, fell 0.07% after an irregular day marked by expectation regarding quarterly results. Silver shows up to 7% on dollar weakness, and gold prices fall. Gold prices fell on Thursday in a trading session in which silver showed 7%, supported by the weak dollar. Joe Biden will repeal rules limiting access to abortion. Joe Biden will repeal today the rule that prohibits state funding for foreign NGOs that provide abortion services in the United States, the White House announced. Apocalyptic news. The Doomsday clock is not ticking and remains 100 seconds away from the apocalypse. The health crisis is not an existential threat and will not destroy civilization, in quotes, says the bulletin of the atomic scientists. In addition, there have been some positive developments that allowed the hands not to advance. The US-based bulletin of atomic scientists has decided this year to leave the hands of the so-called Doomsday clock at 100 seconds before midnight, which symbolizes the moment of the apocalypse. Thus, the clock continues to strike 23:58:20, the same time as last year. 2020 brought tragedy and danger to the world and became a year of death, disaster, and despair. In quotes, as UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said during his annual address to the UN General Assembly, but he expects 2021 to be a period of recovery, just as well. Dozens of people are locked in house in Colombia to wait for the end of the world, which they believe will happen this Thursday. It is presumed that the pastor who led a religious congregation called Berea is forcing his followers to quit their jobs and sell their properties. A group of at least 30 people have locked themselves in a house in the Colombian department of Atlantic because they are sure that this January 28th the end of the world will come, reports El Tiempo. The individuals, among which at least 8 minors, are confined in a prolonged fast in a house in the rural locality of Isabel López, municipality of Sabana Larga. The neighbors of this locality fear that a collective suicide is taking place. The people are originally from Barranquilla, but 5 weeks ago they moved to Isabel López to wait for God's judgment. The group of parishioners is led by pastor and former university professor Gabriel Alberto Ferrer Ruiz, who resigned in early January from his position as professor of literature at the Universidad del Atlántico, stating that he had received a direct order from the Lord Almighty. The tense scene took place during a demonstration in which the locals of Sola de Vega, Oaxaca, demanded the construction of a cabbage containing the jurisdiction. This is another news. Neighbors threatens to hang their lot. This is another news from Mexico. The last paragraph. Leonardo DiCaprio praises Argentina. Jaguars are once again roaming freely in the Iberá wetlands after 70 years. American actor Leonardo DiCaprio posted a message on his Instagram account on Wednesday to congratulate the Argentine government, the province of Corrientes, and the National Parks Directorate for the successful efforts to release a female jaguar and her 2 cubs born and the reintroduction at the reintroduction center established by the Rewilding Foundation. And it is always good to restore ecosystems. Abandoned cows at Chernobyl adopt the organization and behavior of wild animals. The Chernobyl exclusion zone officially inhabited after the explosion at the nuclear power plant in 1986 continues to provide biologists with information. Employees of the Chernobyl Radiation and Ecological Biosphere Reserve observed that the abandoned cattle have organized themselves into a herd and exhibit behavior very different from what can be observed in farm animals. They noticed that they started to behave in a similar way to wild animals, as they joined together in an organized group, maintain a strict hierarchy, and have adapted perfectly to the climatic conditions of the area. This is very good. Thanks a lot, friends, and be happy.